The girl with no name. The rain fell hard on the metal streets of New Vegas City. Lights from tall neon signs blinked in strange alien languages. Flying cars zipped past overhead, ignoring the dark alley below. In that alley, a small girl ran barefoot. Her clothes were torn, her silver skin shimmered under the streetlights. Her eyes, glowing faint blue, were filled with fear. She didn't know her real name. Everyone just called her It. For years she had lived on the streets, stealing food, hiding from drones, sleeping in trash bins. She was fast. She was smart. But today something felt wrong. Today someone was after her. A voice echoed behind her. Cold and mechanical. Target acquired. Do not resist. She turned and saw two metal droids flying low. Their red eyes scanned the alley. She ducked under a broken pipe and ran into the shadows. She could hear them getting closer. The girl took a sharp turn and ran into an old storage yard filled with rusted junk and broken machines. She crouched behind a dead hoverbike, trying not to breathe too loud. The drones flew past. She waited. 1 second, 2, 10, silence. She stood up slowly. But just as she turned to leave, she bumped into something solid. Someone was standing behind her. A tall man, human. He wore an old leather jacket and a strange black glove on his right hand. His face had a scar across one eye, and his hair was messy, like he hadn't slept in days. The girl jumped back and growled, ready to run, but the man didn't move. He knelt down slowly, lowering himself to her eye level. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said calmly. The girl didn't speak. "You're not just any street kid, are you?" he said, looking at her glowing eyes. "You're different." She stayed quiet, ready to run, always ready. The man smiled slightly. "You don't have to trust me," he said, "but I think someone should tell you the truth." She tilted her head, confused. "You're not just some orphan kid," he said. "You're special, and dangerous people know it." She frowned. Who are you?" The man stood up. "Name's Raylan," he said. "Used to be a soldier. Now I just help people like you." "I don't need help," she said sharply. Raylan looked around. "Sure looks like it. Sleeping in the trash, running from drones. That's not living." She narrowed her eyes. "Why do you care?" He paused, then said softly, "Because once, someone saved me too." The girl looked at him. Something in his voice felt real, sad, but warm. "You got a name?" he asked. She shook her head. "No problem," he said. "We'll find you one." Suddenly, a loud beep echoed through the alley. The drones were back. "Scan complete," a robotic voice called out. "Unknown genetic pattern detected. Subject must be terminated." Raylan pulled out a strange gun and stood in front of the girl. "Stay behind me," he ordered. The girl's heart raced. Nobody had ever stood in front of her before. Laser shots flew through the air. Raylan moved fast. Too fast for a normal human. His glove glowed as he blocked a blast with it, then fired back. One drone exploded. The other tried to fly away, but Raylan threw a small disc into the air. It beeped and shot out a blue net, trapping the drone mid-flight. Silence returned. The girl stared at him, eyes wide. What are you?" she asked. Raylan turned and offered his hand. "Someone who thinks you deserve a home," he said. She looked at his hand. No one had ever offered her anything without a price. Slowly, she reached out and took it. As they walked away from the alley, Raylan glanced down at her and said, "From now on, you're not it. You're someone. We'll find out who together." "Kirkion." Girl said nothing, but for the first time in years. She didn't feel alone. From a rooftop far above, a drone watched them leave. It recorded the scene and sent it to a dark room on a far planet. A deep voice growled, "The heir has been found. Begin the hunt. Strange powers." Days passed, but Alara still didn't sleep peacefully. She would jolt awake from dreams she couldn't understand. Visions of stars she had never seen. a giant silver throne in a hall made of glass, and voices calling her name. A name she didn't remember, a name that felt ancient. Raylan had taken her in. His home was hidden deep underground, far from the neon cities and flying drones. A rusty old bunker full of tools, weapons, and things she didn't have names for. He cooked food, talked less, and fixed machines like he was born with a screwdriver in his hand, and every day he trained her. How to survive is one thing, he told her, but I want you to know how to fight, how to choose when to fight. That's the difference between a monster and a leader. She listened. She learned. But sometimes things happened. One morning, Alara cut her hand on a jagged metal part while fixing a power coil. Blood dripped. She flinched. Raylan reached for a med kit, but before he could touch it, Alara stared at the cut, and it started to close. Fast. In seconds, the wound was gone. Raylan stopped cold. His face went pale. Alara, he said slowly, has this ever happened before? She shook her head, just as confused. He said nothing for a moment. Then he stood, walked over to an old locked cabinet, and opened it. Inside was a strange device. Half tech, half crystal. He powered it up. The scanner beeped, flickered, then glowed blue. Not red, not green. Blue. Raylan stared at the screen. This tech's only used to identify royal bloodlines. Off-world ones. Alara blinked. What does that mean? Raylan's voice was quiet now. It means you're not just some alien, you're something important. That night the dreams got worse. She saw fire, screaming, a tall figure in armor holding a baby, running through smoke. Then, a symbol, a spiral with a star in the center. She woke up gasping. In the mirror, there was something glowing on her wrist, faint, like a tattoo made of light. The same spiral. She tried to hide it. But something else was changing too. Machines in the bunker started acting strange around her. Lights flickered. A drone that hadn't flown in years suddenly floated up when she got too close. A broken screen lit up just as she passed it. Raylan saw it all, and he looked worried. Alara, he said, we need to leave this place. Someone, somewhere, might have felt this. She frowned. Felt what? He didn't answer, but he packed, in silence. That night they flew. Raylan's old starship looked like junk from the outside, but once inside it hummed with quiet power. Ancient tech mixed with human upgrades. She sat in the co-pilot seat watching stars blur into light. You've never been off-world, have you? He asked. No, she said, but I've seen it. In dreams. Raylan didn't look surprised. They arrived at a secret moon, hidden inside an asteroid belt. Raylan called it the Vault. The place was a graveyard of lost tech, forgotten AI, and secrets too dangerous for open space. That's when Alara touched the control panel, and the ship's AI woke up. Its voice was soft, old, almost sad. Welcome. Queen Alara. Command protocol active. Alara froze. Raylan stood, eyes wide. You heard that too? She whispered. He nodded slowly. I think, he said, it's time I told you the truth. 10 years ago there was a war, not between planets, but between rulers. A royal house, once in control of half the galaxy, was overthrown by betrayal. The queen and her child were said to be killed in a firestorm, but no body was ever found. The Empire covered it up. Raylan was there. He was a soldier at the edge of the battlefield. He found a ship crash-landed on a backwater world. Inside it was a baby. He ran. He hid. And now here they were. You were never meant to survive, Raylan told her. But you did. And now, the galaxy's about to remember that. Alara stared at her hand. The symbol was glowing brighter now. She didn't know who she was anymore. But she knew who she wasn't. She wasn't it. She wasn't nobody. She wasn't trash. She was something more. And someone was coming to find her. From far away, a command ship floated above a burning world. A dark figure sat in the throne room, watching a screen showing Alara's face. "The lost one," he said. "Alive." Finally, he stood. "Send the hunters." "No witnesses. Bring me the girl." The Mark of the Queen. The ship hummed quietly through the void of space. Alara sat cross-legged on the metal floor of Raylan's starship, staring at her glowing wrist. The mark pulsed slowly like a heartbeat made of starlight. It didn't hurt, but it didn't feel normal either. "Is it alive?" she asked quietly. Raylan glanced at her from the cockpit. "No, but it's ancient tech. Bio-coded to your bloodline. It means something. And someone out there probably still remembers what." She looked up. "Like who?" Raylan didn't answer. Instead, he changed course. They landed on a dead moon called Kareth 9, a forbidden zone full of dust, silence, and old wrecks from wars nobody remembered. Perfect place to hide things nobody wanted found. Raylan had heard of a man here. Vorik. Half machine, half genius, and fully paranoid. He used to design royal defense systems before the fall. If anyone knew what the mark meant, it would be him. But Kareth 9 didn't like visitors. As they stepped into the scrapyard valley, shadows moved. Silent. Watching. "Ilara," Raylan said under his breath. "Don't touch anything. And don't look afraid." She was afraid, but she didn't look it. A figure appeared. Metal arms. Glowing red eyes. A voice like broken glass. "Raylan Gray. I thought you were dead." "You're not the first to say that," Raylan replied coolly. Vorik scanned Alara. His eyes widened. "You brought her here?" he growled. "You're insane." "She's the heir," Raylan said. "She's a target," Vorik snapped. They went inside a bunker carved into the rock. Cold. Full of blinking servers, broken droids, and maps of ancient systems. Vorik scanned. Her wrist with a strange crystal tool. Symbols danced in the air, glowing in patterns no one had seen in 100 years. "It's royal," he whispered. "Real. The old line. The last sigil." He looked at her. "Do you even know what you are?" Alara shook her head. "You're the key to an empire," he said, "and every power in the galaxy will kill for you, or because of you." Suddenly, the screens in the bunker went black. Raylan jumped up. "What is that?" Vorik's metal fingers flew across the console. "They've found us." Outside, the wind screamed. Lights in the sky. A ship. Not just any ship. A hunter-class vessel marked with the seal of the Shadow Armada. That meant one thing. They were here to erase her. Raylan pulled Ilara into the back corridor. "We need to leave. Now." "But what? About Vorik?" she asked. He knew the risk. The ground shook. A blast tore through the wall. Smoke, sparks, and screaming metal. From the flames walked 3 figures. Tall, armored. No eyes, no faces. Just cold voices in the dark. Target confirmed. Execute extraction. Raylan fired first. But Alara froze. The nearest hunter raised. A plasma blade aimed right at her, and suddenly, everything stopped. Literally. The air around her shimmered. Time stuttered. Even Raylan's blaster bolt hung in the air, frozen. Alara's eyes glowed, brighter than ever before. Her mark burned. She lifted her hand. Without understanding how, she spoke to the ship's systems. Not with her voice. With her mind. "Protect me." The starship responded instantly. Outside, the engines roared to life. Inside the bunker, a pulse of blue light exploded from Alara's body. The hunters were thrown backward. Time snapped back into motion. Raylan stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time. "What did you do?" he whispered. I don't know. They escaped just as the moon cracked behind them, Vorik's bunker reduced to dust. Ilara sat shaking in the back of the ship. Raylan knelt beside her. You connected to the ship. Without touching it, that's not just tech, that's genetic memory. I didn't mean to, she said. It just happened. He nodded slowly. Ilara, you're not just the key to the Empire. You are the Empire. You were born with its codes, its defenses, its last command system in your blood. She stared at her hands. I don't want to rule anything, she whispered. You might not get to choose, Raylan said, but you can choose how you fight for it. Meanwhile, light years away, the Shadow Armada watched the failed mission on a holoscreen. A tall, cloaked woman stood in the darkness. She activated the legacy protocol, the woman said. The bloodline is awake. A second figure stepped forward, a cyborg with burning eyes. Should we kill her now? The woman shook her head. No, not yet. We'll let her believe she's free. Let her unlock the gates. And then, we take it all. The truth beneath the lies. The ship drifted through the void. No lights, no signals, nothing but silence and stars. Ilara sat in the engine room, knees hugged to her chest. The mark on her wrist had stopped glowing for now, but she still felt it. Like something was watching her from the inside. Raylan was in the cockpit, typing into a comm system that shouldn't have been working. Hidden frequencies, dead channels. She heard his voice, low and sharp. She's active. We need to move, up the timeline. Ilara's eyes narrowed. When Raylan entered the room, she was already standing. Who were you talking to? She asked. Raylan froze. No one, he said. Lie. You said she's active. Were you talking about me? Silence. Then finally he spoke. I made a deal years ago, he said. To protect you. But there's more to this than I told you. She stepped back. You lied to me. I protected you, he snapped. You think I just found you? No, Ilara. Someone left you for me to find. Ilara's blood turned cold. You knew who I was all this time? Raylan looked ashamed. Not exactly. I knew what you were. I didn't know who you'd become. She felt the floor tilt beneath her. Not literally. Just her world. He handed her a small data chip. What's this? She asked, voice cold. A memory, he said. From someone who knew your mother. Later that night, alone in her quarters, Ilara slid the chip into a reader. The screen flickered, and a woman appeared, tall, beautiful, eyes like hers. Voice strong. If you're watching this, it means they failed to kill you. Good. That means there's still hope. The woman explained everything. The betrayal, the coup, the war. She'd sent her child, Ilara, away, hiding her in a lifeboat. With a single protector's coordinates, Raylan Gray. He was once my brother's most loyal soldier. If he's still alive, he'll find you. He's the only one I trust. Ilara's hands trembled. The image flickered. The last words burned into her memory. You're not just my daughter. You're the last true heir, and they will fear you once you awaken. The next morning, Raylan was gone, his gear, his comms, his jacket. She found only a note. I'm sorry, but there are things I need to fix before I can stand beside you again. Follow the signal. Find the resistance. They're waiting for their queen. Using the ship's AI, Ilara traced Raylan's last flight path. It led her to a ruined moon orbiting a red dwarf Chiron's edge. The moment she landed, ships surrounded her. Old, mismatched starfighters, held together by bolts and hope. The rebels had found her. She expected fear, distrust, maybe even a cell. Instead, they bowed, and that scared her more than any weapon ever could. Inside the base, a woman approached. Rough armor, one cybernetic eye, sharp voice. I'm Captain Myra Vale. We've been waiting a long time, Ilara. I'm not a queen, Ilara replied, wary. Myra nodded. Then maybe you'll be something better, A weapon they can't predict. Ilara learned everything. The rebellion had been building in secret since the fall. Whisper networks, hidden fleets. Codes passed through music and myth, but they didn't want a ruler. They wanted a spark. That night, Myra showed her something else. An old map, burned into crystal. Only the royal bloodline could unlock it. Ilara touched it. The map opened. A star, system long thought lost. At its center, a planet called Ilarion, her birth world, sealed, off-grid, but still pulsing with energy, and at the heart of the system, an ancient satellite still sending a signal. "It's your mother's final message," Myra said. "A last defense, or maybe a last trap." Ilara stared at the map. "I have to go," she said. Meanwhile, in deep space, a ship trailed her every move. Inside, a man in dark armor stood before, a burning hologram of Ilara's face. His voice was low, bitter. She remembers nothing. Not yet. Behind him, Raylan stood. Bound, bruised, but alive. "You lied to her," the dark man said. Raylan smirked, blood on his lip. "You lied to the whole galaxy." The man leaned closer. "And now, I'll let her come to me, thinking she's winning, thinking she's free." He looked out into the stars. "She'll unlock the gate. She'll bring me home." Rise of the Resistance. The rebel base beneath Chiron's edge buzzed with activity, ships being repaired, weapons calibrated, orders whispered in hallways like prayers. Everyone here had lost something, a home, a family, a planet. Now they had something new. Ilara, not a queen, not yet, but something close. She stood in the command chamber, staring at the star map glowing before her. Ilarion, the sealed system, shimmered like a heartbeat in the center of the galaxy. "We can't just walk in," said Myra, arms folded. "It's surrounded by blackspace mines, time-shifted patrol zones, and wormhole traps. It was meant to stay hidden forever." "But it didn't," Ilara said. "Not from me." She touched the map again. The route changed. A passage opened. Not straight, not safe, but possible. Myra raised an eyebrow. "How did you do that?" Ilara shrugged. It listened. Training began. Not in fancy halls, but in old hangars and scrapyards, combat drills, starship tactics, leadership simulations. Ilara learned quickly. But she also questioned everything. "Why are they following me?" she asked Myra one night. "Because you make them believe again," Myra replied. "And belief is more dangerous than any weapon." One night during drone recon practice, Ilara found something strange in the system, a signal, weak, hidden inside static. She adjusted the frequency and heard it. "This is Raylan Gray. Do not trust." Then static. Ilara's heart nearly stopped. She burst into the command center. "Raylan's alive!" Myra's face darkened. "That could be a trap." "I don't care," Ilara snapped. "I'm going." They tracked the signal to an abandoned starforge in Sector Vanta 7, a graveyard of old Empire tech. The place looked dead, but something about it felt awake. Ilara and a small rebel strike team landed near the edge. Everything was silent, too. Silent. Inside they found him, Raylan, chained. Weak, but alive. "Ilara," he whispered. "You have to listen to me. He's using you." Before she could answer, the doors slammed shut. A figure stepped from the shadows. The same one from the hollow in Part 4. Armor dark as space. A face hidden behind a shattered crown. Eyes glowing beneath. High Lord Kale. Once a royal, now something else. "Welcome, heir," he said, voice like ice. "You brought the key just like I knew you would." Ilara drew her weapon. "Let him go." Kyle smiled. "You don't understand. You already unlocked it." The mark on her wrist burned, out of her control. Behind her, a massive vault opened. Inside, a crystal core, alive, breathing. The Empire's last command AI. My mother sealed that, Alara whispered. And you, Kale said, stepping forward. Just opened it. Kale revealed the truth. He wasn't trying to destroy the empire. He wanted to rebuild it. His way. An empire of absolute control, where peace came through obedience and fear. You have power, Ilara, he said. But you lack vision. Join me. Together we can bring order to chaos. Ilara stared at him, then looked at Raylan, bloodied but defiant. She remembered the streets, the fear, the nights she cried herself to sleep in broken alleys while the powerful played war in the stars. Her voice was calm. I didn't survive all this, to become another tyrant. Then she turned to her team. Plan B. Boom. Hidden explosives blew out the walls. A full rebel squad dropped in, led by Myra. Raylan was freed. Chaos erupted. Alara and Kale fought in the chamber of the AI core, energy flashing, blades clashing, the floor shaking with every strike. Kale was strong, but Alara wasn't alone. Raylan tossed her the old black glove. She caught it mid-air. Slid. Idon power surged. The glove locked to her DNA. True air access confirmed. She landed one final blow, blasting Kale back into the core. But before he fell, he grinned. This isn't over, Queen. You think you're rising, but I've already, set the fall in motion. Then he vanished in a flash of teleport tech. Back on the rebel ship, Ilara sat in silence. She had saved Raylan, sealed the core again. But something was wrong. Raylan sat beside her, bandaged and quiet. Kyle didn't need the AI, she said. He needed me to open it. What if there's more? There is, Raylan said. Your mother built more than one lock, and the final one is on Alarian. She looked out the window. Stars drifted by like ghosts. Then that's where we go next. Meanwhile, Kale stood aboard his hidden command ship. Beside him, a shadowy figure handed him a vial, glowing with strands of Ilara's DNA. Now, Kale whispered, we don't need the key. We become it. Betrayals and crowns. Planet, Ilarian, long lost, sealed, rumored to be a myth. Now, very real. The rebel fleet hovered just outside the system, cloaked by ancient technology tied to Ilara's bloodline. Only she could bring them through. She stood on the command deck staring into the storm of radiation and debris surrounding the planet. Open it, Myra said softly. Ilara raised her hand. The mark on her wrist shimmered, pulsing with the same rhythm as the planet below. The storm parted. The path opened. Ilarian welcomed its air. As they descended, Ilara's memories returned. Flashes of hallways, gardens, laughter, and then fire. Screams. A woman with her eyes. Placing her in a pod, saying, you'll return when you're ready. Now, she was. The planet's surface was unlike anything she imagined. Not ruins, not ash, perfectly preserved. A stasis field had locked the capital city in time for 20 years. Statues still stood. Water still flowed in fountains. Birds still hung mid-flight like holograms frozen in pause. And at the center of it all, the throne spire, a crystalline tower stretching toward the stars. Raylan and Myra followed close, but Ilara walked alone into the spire. Doors opened with her presence. Lights flickered to life for the first time in 2 decades. Then, the AI spoke. Queen Ilara, final sequence pending. A floating crown rose from the center chamber. It pulsed with raw energy, connected to the Empire's living network. One thought, one choice, and she would control it all. But the crown waited. And Ilara hesitated. That night she stood in the spire's garden, staring at her reflection in the pool. Raylan joined her, silent for a long while. I never wanted any of this, she said. He replied, doesn't matter. It wants you. She turned to him. You hid things from me, lied. He nodded. I did. And now you want me to wear that crown? No, Raylan said. I want you to decide who you are, not who they told you to be. They sat in silence, a quiet peace, until a scream broke the air. They rushed to the control hall. Guards, rebels posted at the doors. Dead. Blaster marks, burned seals on the wall. Kale's insignia. He's here, Myra growled, raising her weapon. Impossible, Raylan said. We blocked all, a voice echoed through the spire. Not all doors need opening. Some were never closed. Kyle stood at the top of the stairs, unarmed, unafraid, but behind him, rebel soldiers, armed, loyal. To him, Alara's eyes widened. You betrayed us? She said, staring at Myra. Myra didn't flinch. I protected this rebellion for 20 years, waiting, preparing. But you're a symbol, nothing more. And symbols are meant to be used. Raylan lunged, but one of the soldiers struck him, down. Blood on the floor. Alara screamed. Kyle stepped forward. I don't want to kill you, he said. I want to rule with you, my strength, your legacy. We could end this chaos. You are the chaos, she spat. Kale looked down at Raylan, groaning on the floor. Choose, Alara, the crown or the corpse. Silence. She stepped forward, toward the crown. Her heart pounded. Raylan reached out weakly. Alara, don't. She looked back and smiled, then turned to Kyle. Fine. I'll take the crown. Kyle's grin widened. Myra nodded. The traitors lowered their weapons. Alara touched the crystal. It glowed bright, then brighter, too bright. A blast of white energy exploded outward. Kyle and his loyalists were thrown back. Raylan shielded his eyes, and in that moment, Alara vanished. In orbit above Alarion, a hidden rebel cruiser received a ping, encrypted voice only. It's me, Alara. I triggered the final protocol. I faked the choice. I let them think they had me. But now, I know who I am. On the planet below, Kale crawled to his feet in the ruins of the spire. Myra, injured, furious. She played us, Kale snarled. Where is she? Myra hissed. Kale looked up at the empty crown pedestal. She became the crown. The queen they never saw coming. Darkness. Cold, perfect space. Inside a hidden rebel vessel drifting in Alarion's outer orbit, Alara stood before a glowing interface, the core nexus. Once designed to obey the royal bloodline, now learning to serve its queen. You are in control, Alara, the AI said. Command accepted. Empire status fragmented, potential for unification 14% and falling. Good. She didn't want a throne. She wanted options. From the shadows, Raylan limped into the room, still healing, still stubborn. You faked your capture, took control of the core, and launched a quantum decoy crown while unconscious agents hunted your body. That's dramatic, even for you. Alara smiled faintly. Had to give Kale something shiny to chase. Raylan dropped into a seat beside her. Now what? She tapped the screen. The map of the galaxy unfolded. Glowing red zones, Kale's fleet expanding, moving toward rebel strongholds one by one. She clenched her fists. We can't fight him the old way. He's playing chess with tanks. Raylan tilted his head. So we change the game? No, Alara said. We flip the board. Meanwhile, Kale stood aboard the dreadnought Sovereign Wraith, watching his ships cut across rebel-controlled space like a blade. Cities burned. Satellites fell. Entire colonies were vanishing overnight. He wore the crown. A fake, he still didn't know it, thinking himself invincible. Prepare to assault the Vault Nebula, he ordered. They're hiding something there. Myra approached him with unease. Something's off. She's too quiet. She ran, Kale said. That's what prey does. But deep in his mind, he wondered, why had the crown never spoken to him? Back on Alara's ship, she addressed the leaders of the resistance through a secure holocall, alien generals, human defectors, AI representatives, pirates, farmers, everyone who still wanted to fight. You followed me because I lit a fire, Ilara said. But I don't want your loyalty. I want your choice. She paused. We don't need another empire. We need a galaxy that can never be owned again. A long silence. Then one by one, holoscreens lit up with the same words, "We follow until the end." The plan was insane. It was also the only way. They would lure Kale's full fleet into the Vault Nebula, a cluster of old Empire systems where the AI core once stored its backup memory. Only Ilara could navigate it. Only she could control the mines, hidden in its folds. But Kale wouldn't just chase her. He'd follow, thinking it was his final victory. The final battle begins. Kale's fleet entered the nebula. The sky turned electric with energy storms. Asteroids spun like knives. And then, Ilara's signal echoed through every channel. "Welcome, Kyle. Thanks for bringing your army into my house." Then everything lit up. Hidden rebel ships decloaked from asteroid fields. AI drones reprogrammed by Ilara attacked from the shadows. Every trap Kyle thought she wouldn't know about? She designed them. Ships exploded like fireworks. Gravity bombs tore through dreadnoughts. And in the chaos, Ilara landed on Kale's flagship. Alone, she walked straight into the throne room. Kale sat there, in a mockery of royal armor, still wearing the useless crown. "You've got guts," he growled. "Showing up like this." She shrugged. "Figured I'd return what's mine." Raylan's voice crackled in her comms. "We've got 5 minutes before the core override completes. You sure about this?" "No," she whispered. "But it ends here." The final fight was brutal. Kale was stronger, faster, enhanced. But Ilara wasn't just fighting him. She was fighting every lie she'd ever been told. Every time she'd been called worthless. Every time someone said, "She's just a street rat." She fought like the queen they never saw coming. She used the crown as a trap, overcharging it, causing a backflow of corrupted royal energy into Kale's suit. He screamed. Lightning tore through him. And then, silence. He collapsed. The fake crown cracked in half. Ilara fell to her knees. Raylan arrived seconds later, panting, limping. He pulled her up. "You did it." "No," she said, tears in her eyes. "We did." Days later, the Empire didn't return. It evolved. Worlds began to rebuild, free, connected by trust instead of chains. Ilara didn't sit on a throne. She walked among people, sometimes with Raylan, sometimes alone. Her name echoed like a legend. But no statues were built, because she wasn't a symbol. She was a reminder that sometimes the galaxy's last chance is a girl with no name, a human who believed in her, and a fire no crown could ever tame. They said she was just a street orphan, but they were wrong. She was never just anything. She was the queen they never saw coming.